Hey guys, welcome to The Beat Goes On. I am Larri King, and tonight I am here with Miss Hunter Storm. Hey Miss Hunter, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Larry. This is going to be a blast.
I have been so excited for this ever since you agreed to do this for me. This is going to be the show every show is going to hold its standards to. I'm telling you, we are going to rock this.
Thank you. That's some high praise to live up to. And that's really hard because I'm so darn short.
Well, I wasn't going to put that out there because I'm really tall, so, you know, I understand the opposite end of that stick. But, yeah, you are a little bit. But
I'm Dio-sized. I'm half an inch shorter than Dio.
Nice.
God rest his soul.
Nice. See, and I'm 5'9"3/4.
Ooh, tall enough to ride the motorcycle.
I'm tall enough to ride every ride.
Oh, including, you know.
Woo! I climb those mountains. But
it's too bad this isn't video. They could have seen me doing the bone roller coaster hands.
Nice. See, and Jim says that all the time when he works with me is, God, we need to get you on video because the faces you make. I'm like,
Yeah, the faces are the best.
I can live without people seeing those faces.
Oh, they're cute. They're cute. You should see her. She's got her hair in this cute braid right now. It's awesome.
You know, it's the country girl comes out every now and again, like all the time. That is who I am. So, Miss Hunter, I have to say, I read your bio. Holy cow. Lady, is there anything you haven't done?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't jumped out of an airplane yet.
Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
I used to date a pro skydiver and tried to talk me into it, but I just didn't have the guts to take the leap.
You know what? There are some leaps of faith that I do not feel that you need to take. Nope.
Makes two of us.
I'll stay in the plane. Thank you kindly.
Even though Van Halen says that you should do what?
Jump. I don't know that he necessarily meant jump out of a plane, though.
Oh, damn it. Okay, well, fine.
Jump into life, I can get it. I can be a part of that.
Or maybe just jump in the fire like Metallica.
There you go. As long as you're not standing outside the fire like Garth Brooks.
That's true. But you should take hold of the flame.
Oh, would you two shut up already? I'm trying to sit here and behave, and see, you guys are making me nuts now. I should have started this like a half an hour ago. I should have heard him.
Guys, I am so sorry. I probably should have warned you that Hunter and I together are probably going to be dangerous.
It's true. And Jim should introduce himself since he's jumping in here.
You know, we do have Mr. Jim Starke here because he's our referee that's supposed to keep us out of trouble.
I'm a babysitter tonight. I'm not a ref. I'm collecting bail money for later, guys. If anybody wants to send it in, just go to my page. Just donations. I promise they'll just go to bail.
Hey, I got in enough trouble at the NAMM show up there. Oh, my God. In Anaheim. Oh, God, the security got called.
Oh, goodness. Mm-hmm. So I have to ask you, what is NAMM?
Oh, that's the music convention in Anaheim, LA area. It's the first time I've ever been. It was so amazing. Every musician who's in a musician is there, and a ton of music distributors, vendors. There were all sorts of them. I was really, really lucky and blessed. Diodario was kind enough to send me there. They were my sponsor. I was an exhibitor guest.
Nice.
So,
I saw all kinds of stuff coming up on Facebook about NAMM this, NAMM that. NAMM is this exclusive thing that you need to be invited to. And I'm like, okay, I'm new into music. Other than loving it all my life, I'm new in the music scene, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling kind of stupid because I don't even know what NAMM is.
Most people don't know what NAMM is. It's sort of that musicians club sort of thing.
Okay, so it's what every musician aspires to be invited to.
Exactly. So that's why I was so honored that Diodario brought me in.
I can imagine.
And Sean Welch arranged that with Chainsaw. He's a friend of his, works for Billy Joel.
Oh,
and they were,
okay. That man holds a piece of my heart and will until the day I die. I love Billy Joel.
He's an amazing musician, isn't he?
I have been a fan of Billy Joel. So far back. In my single digits, I was a fan of Billy Joel.
everybody who is a fan of Billy Joel. He's incredible. One of the greats.
Absolutely. And, he has aged well.
He has.
He has aged well. And I was excited to see that his daughter went into music.
It's amazing.
And she's amazing. But I want to get back to you.
Okay.
Because you are amazing. I have had the pleasure of seeing you step in on shows. You have stepped in and sung with Oddity Paradox, who are some of my most favoritist guys out there. That was hilarious. Yes, I did get video of that, by the way.
Oh,
yes,
gosh.
That video was uploaded to the Local Beat. You are more famous. Not that you weren't famous before, but you are now famous on the Local Beat, and it was uploaded to our YouTube channel.
Thank you. I didn't even know that.
Yes.
You'll have to send a link to me.
Absolutely, because the Local Beat. When I started the Local Beat, I get anxious easy, and I didn't feel like the Local Beat was doing enough to bring enough attention to the musicians locally. I was only a month and a half into it. I still didn't feel like it was doing good enough, so I started a YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel's been out for a couple months now. It's got 30 subscribers in a couple of months, and every week the videos I take for uploading to the Local Beat then get cross-posted to our YouTube channel.
That's fantastic. I'll have to send a link out on my page as well. I'll put it on my Facebook, and I'll subscribe from my YouTube channel.
Absolutely, and then make sure I've got that so that I can add you as one of my preferred channels that I recommend out to anybody else.
It's youtube.com/HunterStorm.
Fantastic.
Easy enough.
Fantastic. And I'll make sure that you get the one, because it's the Local Beat Phoenix Bands, I want to say, but I'd have to look it up on our channel. So, you've got a lot of stuff you've been a part of. Reading your bio, your professional world, you are in the IT tech world, you are in the music world, you are in the Corvette world.
And the crotch rocket world.
Oh my God.
Don't forget the sport bikes.
See, and I was raised on motorcycles. One of my favorite movies is On Any Sunday.
Oh, excellent.
I
That's
own them.
Such a great movie.
I own all 4.
Yes.
My daddy raised me right.
Your dad did do a great job.
So, how did you get into all of this?
Well, which thing should I start with?
Which one did you start with? Which was your first love?
Oh, my first love. Well, it started with 2 things at the same time, horses and singing. So they both started as soon as I could sit up, as soon as I could talk, I started vocalizing right away. And first time I ever sang, it was a solo in church, and I got up and sang a cappella version of I'll Fly Away.
I love that song.
That was my family's favorite song and a favorite of my uncle's. I actually have an acoustic version of that on my YouTube page that I did in his honor when he passed away.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of
Guys,
raw.
I've got goosebumps at this point. I gotta tell you, I haven't even heard it, and just the thought of hearing Hunter sing that has got me with goosebumps. Wow.
Oh, we have snippets of it, but I don't want to ruin the flow here. But let's see. And other love, of course, horses, which were the first thing I had before motorcycles. My parents thought motorcycles were too dangerous, so I had to get with the horse. So I started riding probably age 3 or 4. As soon as I could sit up, hold the reins.
I know stories about horses that would make motorcycles seem like bubble wrap.
They're 100% true. All horses are that way. If they don't like you, you're on the ground.
My mom had a Shetland pony that if you tried walking it, it would step on your toes. And if you tried riding it, it would ride into the nearest barbed wire fence.
Most of them will do that. Shetland ponies are mean.
That's the overwhelming thought process about Shetland ponies is they're assholes.
Yeah,
they are
pretty
the
much.
chihuahua of the horse world.
Now, I was lucky. I had American saddlebreds later and Tennessee Walkers. One Arabian. The Arabian was beautiful but crazy. My favorite was
Inbreeding.
My saddlebred stallion was my favorite.
Oh, wow.
He could run, he could jump, and nobody could ride him but me. He would just not let you touch him.
Wow.
But
see, horses are so loyal like that.
They are.
So, next love. motorcycles?
Well, I didn't get to ride a motorcycle until I was in my 20s, and that's when I finally got to that. But the singing and the horseback riding went on long before that. Dance, martial arts, all those things, and then, of course, cars. I got into my motorhead phase. Age 17, I bought my first car for $500 cash, and it was a 71 Demon Sizzler, 340 wedge, 727 torque flight, 3-speed automatic, Dana 410s, and it's a miracle I didn't go to prison or die, because all I did was drag race that thing, and there were no seat belts, no air conditioning, no radio, so I had this boombox in the seat, and it's loaded up with my first mixtape. It's Raven, Hellhammer, Voivod, Slayer, Metallica, and GBH, The Exploited, Raw Power.
So I take it those were the bands that were your look up to where you wanted to be when you got going in the music scene?
Actually, those were the bands I listened to for fun. Vocally, my vocal didn't lend itself to that type of music as much as I love it. I love thrash metal. I love the dark metal, the black metal. I love punk, hardcore, all of it, every bit. But my vocal, I knew what my limitations were physically because I started out classically trained soprano coloratura. So first soprano, 12 years, all-state choir, and then a few years with an opera coach, and then another opera coach, Mimi O'Neill. She's an internationally known soprano.
Nice.
And up until that point, my vocal hadn't really developed because the voice doesn't mature for quite some time. And no matter how many hours you spend in training, it doesn't do certain things well till later. It has. Right. It's like wine. It has to mature.
It's got to age.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gets better with age.
It wasn't until... so listening to those bands, as much as I loved them, I couldn't really sing them. So it was for fun. The things that I sang, it was more in the hard rock genre. So back in those days, it would be something like Pat Benatar. It would be... Scorpions, Ronnie James Dio. I would do a little Rainbow, Black Sabbath, those things.
Who was your favorite opera singer? I'm sorry to jump in.
No, it's okay, Jim. Go ahead.
I'm just curious because opera's my number one big favorite of all.
Love opera.
But who's your favorite female?
Oh my goodness, that's tough to say. But I'm going to pick my teacher, Mimi. I loved her tone. She had such a beautiful voice, and it was perfect every time. She was so consistent. And her highs, she never struggled to hit a high. I know there are people who are more well-known than Mimi, but she was just amazing.
That's awesome.
And her carriage, her bearing, the projection, and how well she controlled the dynamics was incredible. You should see her online. Some of her performances are incredible.
Well, you seem very blessed to have had her, and I'm glad because she obviously made a difference.
Very grateful.
Thank you. Keep up with it. Don't give up on that. It's really cool. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's okay. You've got an opera background, so by all means.
Do you have a favorite opera, Jim?
A favorite opera overall? Oh, not one in particular. No. There's bits and pieces of all of them that have touched me, so I can't say there's one. I don't know. Boy, it's tough. I don't know. It's tough. I know I can tell you probably my favorite singers in opera. Luciano, of course, was my all-time favorite. I got to meet him, which is probably even more so why I like him so much. But he was so cool. But he was so flexible. I'm sorry, Sarah Brightman.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
My heavens. And then when Freddie Mercury, of course, went through his little opera stage there.
Yes.
But I love Freddie's my all-time favorite anyway.
Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?
See, here we go. We're getting a taste of her, man. Ooh,
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I can hit that note, but it might break. I would have to step outside. It'll be so loud.
Oh, if you break something in here, it'll just add to the effect.
Well, I'll do it if you want, but
the neighbors will think I'm killing someone in here. So
okay.
Yeah, let's not have the cops called. That is not a goal I strive for.
I wasn't kidding about security getting called to the penthouse at the Hyatt.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
It was because I sang the opening note of Yngwie Malmsteen's "I Am a Viking."
Oh God.
It's just one note, sort of.
Well, it's just one note. It's
sort of.
Yeah.
That's all you need is one note, just in the right pitch.
And what time of the morning was it?
It wasn't even that late. It was probably 9 at night.
So it's not like you were waking people up.
No.
Somebody was just a pansy.
Well, I'm a little loud. A little bit.
That's fun, though.
A little bit. But anyway.
It's all good. It's all good. Corvettes.
Corvettes.
You have got a thing for Corvettes, and I seem to recall you've got 2 of them? 3 of them.
I had 3, and I finally sold one.
Look who has all the 3 Corvettes.
Well, actually, I run a home for abandoned Corvettes, you know. They're unloved. It's adoption. Because, and they kind of breed like tribbles. You'd think you're on the Enterprise. Because
Corvettes breed. That's good to know.
They do. You have to watch out, because once you have one, you want more. It's like
tattoos. One is never enough.
Car harem. Plastic harem. Yeah. So the yellow one I bought first. C6 Z51 3LT stick. Love this car. Velocity yellow on cashmere. And I adopted him from the Porsche dealer because somebody traded him on a Porsche. They didn't think he was a valuable car, so I have loved that car for years. It's a great car. And then the next one was a silver base automatic, silver on black with a Borla attack exhaust. And it was great too. And then one Christmas week, I was walking through the lot and I just got that gut punch. And I saw the red one, and that thing was like Magic Mike. He's up there doing the little dance on the lot, shaking it around, doing the helicopter, going, "Hey, baby, come over here." And it was, I didn't know what the heck it was, but I just knew it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. And it was a red ZR1. And that was it. I fell in lust, and that one I had to take home. So that's how I ended up with the harem. And my poor motorcycle, he had to share the garage with them. And
I'm sure that he doesn't mind.
I don't know. If the house is on fire, the bike comes out first. I'm a motorcyclist first. I love the vets, but
the bike's easier to get out anyway.
Wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter at all, because he's my first pick.
Well, first love. First love's got it. There's a thing.
They all are he because, they all have names. The motorcycle's toothless after How to Train Your Dragon.
Nice.
And he's black.
Love that show. Love that movie.
Yellow Vet's Pac-Man. The silver one that I sold, I called him T2, the Terminator. Because he looked,
I can picture this. It's so cute.
Well, he's got that liquid metal going on. And the red one, I call him Fang, Jake Trump, or the Spinal Extractor.
Nice.
He's also known as Magic Mike or Captain Fishtail.
I think I've seen you mention Magic Mike.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, you're a IT tech security.
Mm-hmm.
And you are a rock goddess.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm sure that I'm sure that... Does your work know what you do for fun?
Well, I quit performing for a while when I got into IT because I was afraid that my corporate colleagues would not appreciate the fact that I was jumping around on stage in leather pants, stiletto boots, and at the time wearing fangs, and I had the bright red hair. And I thought I could probably get away with it because the days when we were really playing heavily and we were getting airplay on Z-Rock, playing with Tesla, Gilby Clarke, Pretty Boy Floyd, Sacred Right, Vixen, LA Guns, all those folks all the time, then... I thought my work probably wouldn't remember. I dress up in a suit, put the ponytail, don't wear makeup. They're not going to know.
They're not going to know the difference.
And it worked for a while until I got invited to do a song at somebody's birthday party at O'Kelly's. Or maybe this was Tonic. And I went up with Rock Addicts and did Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. Next thing I knew, social media was plastered with videos and pictures, and I realized that the cat was out of the bag.
Don't you love social media?
Yeah. And at that point, that's when I realized I had to make social media accounts or bad things were going to happen at work. And I still don't know what work thinks about it because diversity policy doesn't quite cover metalhead.
But, quite honestly, as long as you are not doing anything to compromise the reputation... And just because you sing metal, that doesn't compromise the reputation.
Well, it depends. Every once in a while, I'm a little exuberant. There might be the universal hand sign or certain language that's inappropriate for children,
Yeah, they'll live. That's just it. That's my line, my stand on it. They will survive it.
First they were afraid, They were petrified.
I'm there. See, I work in property management. And my residents actually come into my office on a Saturday or a Sunday just to hear who I was out hanging out with the night before.
That's awesome.
They know that I've been out because I'm sitting there at my desk looking like I need coffee in IV to get going because
sure.
I've been out all night partying with the local bands. You know, there was that night I was out and you took the stage, and it was my first time seeing you. That was pretty god dang awesome.
Didn't I come up and sing, like, right at you? Probably. I think I did. Because I knew it was your first time, and I think I came up and...
I got you on film, but yeah, you were singing with Oddity Paradox, and you were doing...
Another Thing Coming.
And yeah, and Tim invited you, Icky invited you up on stage, and that was the first time I'd ever seen him share the mic with anyone.
I was so honored. I love those guys. Oddity Paradox are such a great band. Great players, and they write some amazing original tunes. And Icky,
I love
Horace,
their stuff.
Matt, me too. It is great. And
Monster, I've got to say, Monster is about the most unique metal song out there.
Absolutely.
But I love it. I've loved it from the first time I heard it. And he starts out with that little Transylvania voice, and it reminds me of back in the day, the Monster Mash.
They did the mash. They did the Monster Mash.
And every time I hear him do that, that's what starts playing in my head is the Monster Mash, and I have to remember, oh, not that song. Wait, no, this isn't the Monster Mash. This is Monster. No, let's not cross them. So it was phenomenal getting to see you come up there with him.
Oh, thanks.
We don't have a lot of heavily known female singers in our scene out here.
We did back in the day. I used to play with two of the really well-known all-female groups here. Whiskey Blue, we were called Valkyrie because we reformed as Valkyrie, and most of the Whiskey Blue girls were part of that band. And then later, a band called Where's Valentino, another all-female band. And Jim is poking me in the head with a cable.
She's in her.
Wait.
She's drifting into her thing. I was trying to wake her up.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, she's telling stories about past.
I'm just teasing, but
she's getting that.
She's getting that twinkle, and she's going into her thing. I just want to make sure she stays with us.
Oh no, I'm staying with you.
No,
no, it's a good twinkle.
It's a good twinkle.
You are one of.
She's gonna float away.
The
awesome.
females out there that I've met only a few of you. In the few months I've been in the scene, I've met so many people. It's amazing. But I've met 4 female singers. 5 female singers, but 4 that I actually feel like I know.
Right.
And that's Tulin and you and Paige of Desert Vikings.
Oh yeah, Paige. Desert Vikings.
She is a little spitfire. I love Paige.
And Tulin and Empire of Desire.
Yes.
Actually, let me jump off here for a sec. We're going to be playing Empire of Desire, and I have a cover band called Horns Up. So we're going to be playing at Scott Rowe's Birthday Bash on February 22nd down at Gypsy's Roadhouse.
Nice. So guys, don't forget that February 22nd at Gypsy's. We all need to be there.
It's free show.
2 female-fronted bands.
Yep.
Although this will not be our original project. Ours, this will be my Horns Up band. So we're going to be doing Dio. We'll be doing Maiden, Priests, Steelheart, Quiet Riot.
And then Jim, I always forget her name, so I'm going to rely on you for this. The gal that sings for Illuminati.
Holly.
Luminatis. I am so sorry.
Jim is like the Encyclopedia Metallum over here.
Holly's awesome, man.
And she brings classical into metal
We were talking yesterday about that. How we got this ball of girls here that can just totally sing with you. Each have your own unique sound and your own unique style.
And
but
Benedictum,
so cool. Yeah.
Benedictum also.
There's another one.
And see, I love this because they're still to this day, and I don't mean to sound political or feminist or any of those bad labels that keep getting thrown around, but there are not enough female role models out there.
Oh, you feminist.
I know. God dang it. I'm
just
so
kidding.
sorry for going on that tangent.
You're right.
But
right, though. You're
you
absolutely
ladies
right.
in the scene are again stepping into a role that is mostly male dominated.
Yeah.
And y'all are doing it with pure style and sass. And I love it.
Thank you.
I absolutely love it. I have attitude. I'm full of attitude. Everybody knows I'm full of attitude. Jim's always afraid I'm going to kick his butt. But
I'll get it out of her. Watch. She will kick it sooner or later.
one of these days he's going to make me throw a punch at him, and he's going to regret it. But it's all good. I love him anyway. But I still have my shy side. I still have a hard time showing my power, my strength, my energy in public. You are seeing it right now at a level because nobody can see me. I'm hiding behind that keyboard. Nobody can actually see me. But out there in public, people don't get to see that. What they see is me looking like I'm going to bite their head off.
But
So
you look comfortable
She's in
when
her
we
zone.
see you out.
She's in her zone.
And, there's other females out there that we just skip past, like Deidre playing with Jimmy Cat,
Yep,
and
there's another
Dwayne
one.
Miller from Keel and all that. And also Bench Warrant, right?
There you go.
You got a few of the cover bands and things, and actually they just won an award here pretty recently, too. Battle of the
Nice.
Bands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
nice.
The list is so long, so forgive me, all the rest of the musicians in town, if I forget to mention you today, because my brain is still spinning after the long day I had.
I'm sorry, guys. We drug her here and did not give her food first or anything.
It's okay, I've got 4 shots of espresso in this cup, and I just stopped off down at Bizarre Guitar to pick up some signed CDs from the awesome Mr. Greg Chason to get Kings of Dust CDs.
Yeah, Kings of Dust.
And
Nice.
I got fun video of him posted up on social media. You should see him flip out the knife and open the CDs. It's pretty cute.
Oh, we're going to have to find that and get that. I'm going to have to find that. Mind if I steal it and repost it on the local beat?
Please do.
Awesome.
I expect you to. Actually,
Awesome.
a funny story about Greg, in a peripheral way. So when I first moved to Phoenix back in 91, so all of us are part of that local old guard scene of rock and metal here in the Valley. So Greg, Sean and I were living in Jim Seagrave's pool house. Do you remember Jim Seagrave's Rip and Tear?
Rip and Tear, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know that name and don't know why I
Rip
know
and
it.
Tear. So actually, I jammed with Rip and Tear a few times. That after the Gold Rush, I think you were there for it, weren't you? back
Probably,
then?
yeah. We were all
So-
pretty much bonded up back
Oh
then.
yeah, bonded by
There,
blood,
yeah.
like Exodus.
There you go.
That's right. So another one of my old guard faves. So anyway, back we were living in New York when the first Badlands CD came out, and I remember
That's
wanting.
such a badass CD.
Oh hell
my
yeah, Ray
God.
Gillen, my God, one of my vocal influences. So Sean, I've been trying to get him to do a project with me because he's a killer guitarist, and he comes in with this CD one day and he goes, "Here," throws the CD on the kitchen table. "Learn this. If you can sing that song, we can do a project." And what was it? Badlands High Wire. I cannot tell you how many 10,000 times I had to sing that song until it's
It's not an easy song to sing.
oh, it is nearly impossible.
No,
It
he
was-
had a gift, man. That
oh
boy could
man,
sing.
the
Damn, could he
range,
sing.
the transitions. Part of it is in my passaggio. The transition between the various parts of the voice, the chest, the head, all that. And it was nearly impossible. And how long he can hold that note at the end, the power, the pressure. And it took me forever. I sucked at it. So Ray, of course, became one of my vocal idols. He's
Nice.
totally an influence. So when I met Greg, when we came out here and we'd all be around the scene, he'd be at the shows, we'd be at the shows. It was really cool because he's playing with one of the guys I really looked up to as a
Nice.
vocalist. And of course, later I did learn high wire, and now I can do it even a cappella. We played it live a lot.
So let me ask you something. I've developed a new favorite question. I have all kinds of favorite questions, but this new one, because it kind of means something to me.
Okay?
So, if you could play with any band,
Ooh.
who would that be?
Well, I love my guys. Oh,
And honest to God, if that means you've got to build a band, if that meant picking and choosing, and I don't care if you pull people that aren't even with us anymore, please, what would be your band?
Oh my God, that would be so hard to pick because it would be so many iterations. Like every other musician, I have so many favorites in every category because I love tons of styles of music.
Absolutely.
And
I don't screw this answer up.
Oh yeah, exactly. So it's like everything. And I don't think any musician can ever give you a favorite anything, can we? Because we love it all.
There's so many.
We love all the colors. We love all the flavors of chocolate. It's dessert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love the guys I play with right now. I'm playing with Johnny Frankenshred, Rob Irwin,
I
Tom
love
Higgins,
Rob.
and
He's funnier, no,
me too. Rob and I have played together in multiple, actually Asphalt Playground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we played together our solo material that I think you're about to hear here in a bit, and now we play in Horns Up, the cover project, and we have a new band that's coming out on Killer Metal Records with Johnny Frankenshred and Michael Pudignano. Michael was the drummer from Throne of Serpents and also from Commandment. Commandment had the singer from Crimson Glory, Dave Nava. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar, remember Dave?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But unfortunately, Dave passed away a while ago. But now the four of us are doing that project. And then, of course, we have the cover with Tommy. So I love playing with those guys. But if I had to just jump on a stage right now, if it was touring, well, here comes another segue then. I almost ended up in another national or global project when I was injured. A major act contacted me and asked me to audition. I didn't see the email until a year later.
Oh gosh,
and
that's an oops.
Well, I was injured so badly. If you remember, I died and came back, literally.
And that was what year was that? Because
it was 2017. December 2017, right when we were recording this album for Killer Metal Records.
Because you and I were literally doing that
back and forth
hospital thing for, I think mine started in like 14.
Yes.
And then right around 16, I think you joined me, decided to jump into the club, and we died a few times. And
isn't that awesome? But that's
freaking
metal.
I know, right?
That is
no
metal.
one can't say we're not. And now
that's
I'm part
right.
metal anyway, so.
That's all
but
metal.
It's all good, but I remember that now, yeah. Oh man,
so
it's horrible.
It's funny, but it was so cool because I made friends with the guys, and it's really cool because one of my friends is now their singer, so it's really cool, Steve Carlson, because it was Fifth Angel.
Yeah. Yep.
So a killer band. Great. Oh my God, the musicianship in that band.
I hope you guys are taking notes of all of these bands that she's mentioning, because seriously, if Hunter is hollering out their names, their band's worth checking out.
God, yes. I had Fifth Angel's album when it dropped. But back then it was, such fringe music, and so was all the other stuff I mentioned earlier.
A lot of it was
listening.
ahead of its time. It was
big time.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff it takes to change things and give everybody that open. But those are the kind of bands that make it okay for everybody else to open doors.
It does.
They reach out and say, "Let's kick this."
And it's so cool. So, your question, my God, I always wanted to play with Yngwie because I've loved every singer he's ever had. There's some of you'll see them as my vocal influences all the way through. Jeff Scott Soto, number one of my big ones, right there with Ray Gillen, and then of course. My God, Mark Bowles, incredible. All of his singers. And I love his style of playing because the first time, I bought his cassette when it first came out. It was Marching Out. And I was floored. I wore that thing out so much, it came out of my cassette deck in pieces. And to this day...
I did that with my Billy Joel cassette. Billy Joel, yep, did that with Billy Joel.
Oh yeah, I get it. So... definitely Yngwie would be right there. And my God, there are just so many great players. George Lynch. Jeez, Lynch Mob. Another huge influence. Oni Logan. And he lives here also. He's a killer vocalist. Don Dokken. And he's kind of unappreciated in the metal world because his tone is so clean. But he has such finesse in some of the pronunciation. And the ways that he sings.
And you know what? Details. It is all in the details.
Oh my God. Don's vocal, in my book, it's always been like a really intricately decorated cake. Right? It's Oni would be that chocolate icing layer, and some rosettes here and there, and then Dawn is that little detail on the end.
That just pulls it together.
Yeah. So there's just all these places to draw from. So definitely that'd be one of the guitar and bass. Good Lord, so many drums. My favorite drummer in the world just died, unfortunately, Neil Peart. Because I've been a Rush fan since the first time I heard 2112. I wore out side A of 2112, and Neil was.
Neil meant so much to so many.
God, and his writing, his lyrics, were just amazing. You know, it just spoke to me on Xanadu. What an incredible piece of music.
I remember when they turned that into a movie. Yep, I'm old enough to remember Xanadu.
Not that song, but they made the movie Xanadu. ELO was on that one. I still remember. I probably sing all of it. If I heard it right now, I probably follow around word for word. I watched it so many times.
Oh my God.
It's so bad. I feel so old now.
You're not old. You know, nobody goes to the car show to see the new cars. They're looking for the well-maintained classic.
You betcha. So, tell me something. Out of all the songs that you've done, which one's your favorite?
Oh, God. I couldn't pick a favorite, but there are some that mean a little something to me. And I've got a few of them queued up. If we'd had a little more lead time, I would have gotten you the MP3s. I know you asked for them, but I had an email fail.
A rough day.
An email fail.
But tell everybody we can find everything.
Definitely. Absolutely. If you'll go to hunterstorm.com, so my first name, last name.com, hunterstorm.com, at the bottom of the page, I have social media links. I also have a link to my music, so you can find me on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, so youtube.com/HunterStorm. I'm also on iHeartRadio, Deezer, all of the channels, and actually, of all things, Saavn in India, Saavn.
Wow.
And oddly enough, I charted as a top artist on Saavn within the first couple of days. It's so bizarre. There's all these folks from India, and then which one of these is not like the others?
Love it.
And then there's my face. It's like, who's the token winner? Okay. But we actually charted, and I won't necessarily say this is my fave yet, but this is a piece that I just love. Rob and I wrote this, Rob Irwin.
Nice.
He's not just a bassist, and he's not just Iron Ozzy.
I will, before this show ends, I will tell you a story about Rob. He already knows it, so I know it's safe to share it.
Let's see if I can't cue up a piece.
So,
this is a piece that Robbie and I wrote, and this is what started to chart in India. I'll play you a snippet of it.
I am not alone. You feel the way that I do too. You are the sun. I am the moon. Take me home to your head. Burn my soul in your fire. Love me until the universe explodes to 1,000 kisses of light. Well, it's been so long since I held you tight, an even longer time since you've been gone. But I'll wake up tomorrow with dust in my arms. Only my pillow knows tears I cried for you.
wow, I can see why you charted. That is beautiful.
That was beautiful. I mean, that really was.
Thank you.
That is so just mellow.
Very soothing voice on that one.
Thank you.
And I like how you can go from one example to another, but that's one of my favorite sounds you have.
Thank you.
That soothingness, it just makes you feel, Very
I
nice.
can see why you hit their charts. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Oddly enough, this also hit the charts on YouTube. I never expected that because usually what we play is all hard rock, metal, and that's what we love. But you never know what other people are going to like as a musician, so it's good to stretch your musical chops. And even if you don't particularly think a song is something your fans are going to like, you should still put it out there anyway. Because
Absolutely.
you might have a whole new fan base out there like I found. YouTube, I actually charted as a recommended artist to follow right after I posted this, right below Beyonce. So
Wow.
I've got screenshots on my website, hunterstorm.com. It's Beyonce, Hunter Storm, then Eminem. And I went, what?
Nice.
Are you kidding me? I can see charting with Motorhead maybe, but Beyonce?
You beat
Yeah,
out
but you're
Eminem. That's
doing so
that's
many
pretty.
different stuff. You know, everybody knows that you're so versatile.
What's really
vocalize,
funny
so you
is
can-
they put
I'm surprised they
Eminem and
haven't-
Beyonce in the same area whatsoever.
Well,
all
it's
three of them
not,
in the same thing. It's kind of weird.
it's
But I can
not
see
how it
getting
charts.
awards in a whole bunch of different genres.
It has to do with how many people have hit the site, how many times your stuff's been played. That's how they're choosing it. But that song was called Kisses of Light. Robbie and I wrote that a long time ago. I came up with the lyrics and came up with a vocal melody. And he came over, we sat at the house, I made dinner, we drank pots of coffee, and he put this beautiful acoustic guitar to it. Because a lot of people don't know he's a classically trained guitarist. He can play like Andres Segovia, Paganini.
Wow.
He's incredibly talented.
On top of his Aussie.
Oh, sure,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
So,
Just loaded with it.
I'm gonna jump over and talk about him for a minute. And like
Sure.
I said, he's already heard this story, so I feel safe in sharing it. So he also works with Exiled.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Exiled played the New Year's Eve show that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we happened to have 30 minutes of downtime in our set. So Sean Gilbreth looks at me and says, "Hey, can we do Aussie?" And I'm like, absolutely.
Of course.
Love it. So they got Rob, who is so known for Iron Aussie. I've started calling him Aussie-ish because of this story. So I'm doing the videos at the show. I do a shout out on the local beat. Oh my God, I just heard a rumor that Aussie may show up. I only think about the local scene seeing this comment.
Right.
This is
Because and the
freaking
local scene
hilarious.
all
Oh my God.
knows
I gotta shut
what
up.
that
I'm gonna start
means.
laughing now.
Oh, yeah.
when we start joking about Aussie showing up, everybody in the local scene knows that's Rob.
Exactly.
Well, my niece is on my Facebook.
Oh God.
My niece lives in Washington.
You see where this is going. Uh-huh.
Crazy.
So
Goes.
So Ozzy comes on, Ozzy does his thing, I get a couple of videos, I upload them to the local beat talking about Ozzy showing up to the show. My niece is in another music group on Facebook. Somebody in that group posted the whole story about how sick Ozzy was and all the concern for Ozzy being ill.
Oh no.
My niece goes into that group and posts, "That's an absolute lie because Ozzy just played a show in Phoenix on New Year's Eve." And she tags me in that post. I had to go apologize to my niece and explain to my poor niece that was one of my friends doing an Ozzy impersonation, and now I feel like I've got to call him Ozzy-ish when I post anything about him so that we don't get in trouble.
I love it.
I was so pleased that my niece believes me so well,
It's
and that
great.
she saw that video, that he did so well in that video, that people really believed it.
It's perfect. But on that, because Rob does such a great Ozzy, but I also want to mention Kevin and I Don't Know, because they also do an Ozzy tribute.
Yeah.
Because Kevin has that, and David Barkai and company are in that tribute as well. We have so many great bands in town. You could throw a rock and hit a killer musician.
Yeah, I'm kind of learning that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like, they all keep coming and saying hi to me.
Oh, you got Tommy Deers, Ken Ronk, all those folks. My God, I'm sure I'm forgetting to mention like 1,000 other people here. Yeah, so...
So you've got a show coming up. You've got a show coming up on the 7th of February.
I do.
Want to tell us about it?
Well, we'll be playing over at Gypsy's Roadhouse. This will be a Horns Up performance. And who knows what we'll pull out. You know, Horns Up, that's Johnny, Robbie, Tommy, and me. We started in a way most other bands don't. And maybe, I don't know if the guys are going to be cool with me telling the secret, but I'm just going to tell it. So how did the band start?
Please, how did the band start, Hunter? Now I have to know,
Okay.
because you're saying the guys don't want me to know. Now I gotta know.
Well, of course, I'm sure they'd be okay, but I'm the singer, so I become a little exuberant sometimes. It's my job.
It's just me you're telling, and I'm only telling the entire internet. So it's all
Exactly.
good.
So,
Oh, yeah.
it's just our closest friends, a few million. So, one night, I was playing in a Pat Benatar tribute with my drummer, Tommy, and I stopped by to watch them play a gig. They had an Electric Gypsy show down at Boston's. So I stopped off, I rode the motorcycle over, came in, sat back, went ready to watch, and they asked me to come up and do a song. Heck, I don't have any idea. What are we going to do? What do you know? Well, Johnny, I've never played with you, but we played shows together when they were with St. Madness and Arsenal. Mm-hmm. So Asphalt Playground, we played with Johnny. I just didn't play on stage with him.
Right.
So I knew he would know something like Yngwie, so I said, hey, how about Rising Force? Because I figured Robbie knows every song known to humankind. There's no song Rob doesn't know. And Tommy,
Rob, you have just been challenged, man.
No, Rob knows every tune. He knows every player in every band. He is the Encyclopedia Metallum. I mean, I know you do a good job with that, Jim, but Rob would...
Rob is his oxygen, all that.
Yeah.
I swear he's a genius.
Actually, Rob is a genius. He's so quiet. People don't understand. They think, he's just the quiet bass player there or being crazy Ozzy. He's actually a brilliant guy.
Yeah, you get him to start talking, and really, when you can get him talking, because he's so reserved a lot.
He'll talk my ear off.
But once you're his bud, man, you'll learn some stuff about him that's incredible.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Actually, I was the best man at his wedding because Rob and I have been that close friends for so long.
So cool.
We broke all the molds for forever and ever because that was before this was a thing. This has been a long time ago. And I was super honored because I adore Rob. We met back, my God, it was at the library when he was playing a gig with Crossbones. And we've been friends ever since. But anyway...
so you were telling us how the band
Rising
came
Force. So we think none of us have ever played this song. We don't know this at all. We've never practiced it. I'm not warmed up. I rode a motorcycle over on a hot night, so my throat's all dry. I'm grabbing a bottle of water, which you will never see me do at a gig, but there's a video of me doing this now. We have a video of this on my YouTube page, youtube.com/HunterStorm. And if you go into live performance, there's a video of Rising Force, this video. And so we get up there and we pull it off. Even though I'm being unprofessional drinking that water on stage because I'm thirsty, it still came out pretty darn good. And after that, they said, hey, let's... Johnny never really realized that I could do that type of music. So we start talking and, hey, let's do a show. Oh, well, all right. Well, cool. What are we going to call ourselves? We'll figure it out. So I started playing songs, and we never once had a band practice. Not one. Ever. We would get together on stage. Do you know this? And we would start playing something. And we just knew that because we come from the same genre of music, all of us would know it well enough.
Yeah, that chemistry between each other. That's the whole magic. You have to have chemistry.
Yeah.
If you don't, it's not going to work.
And it doesn't matter how good the musicians are by
That's
themselves.
Right. You can't
if they
force
don't have the chemistry,
don't
it's
force
out there.
You can't force it.
No, you can't. It's like great sex. You don't just go out there and have that.
And it doesn't matter how much you know, how much experience you have.
That's right. And with the band, we all knew.
Just
sorry,
like riding
guys.
a bike, right?
Exactly.
I just still don't remember the pedal
I
part
want
though.
to ride my bicycle. Okay, never mind. Okay, back to that Queen reference again. Okay, never throw anything out to a musician. I could have a whole conversation with song
In lyrics. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but all of us know so many songs well enough that we would just do them from memory, even though we'd never practiced them. In some cases, we'd never sung them. And eventually, we made a set list, and I'd put the lists out on stage, and nobody would look at them. We'd just start playing. And this band is so cool because other cover bands I've played in, we play note for note perfectly, just like the album. and we would make it perfect. This band was different. With Horns Up, we're kind of what I refer to as heavy metal cover band jazz, because we do what we think the musicians would have done if they were playing it live. So when we do Heaven and Hell, we riff off and do other things with it. And when I'm doing Dio's vocal,
You own it.
I try to do tribute to it.
Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. You do it, but you do it in Horns Up style.
Yes, because I just think, how would Bruce Dickinson have sung this? What would Kevin DuBrow have done with this tune right here? And sometimes we'll put together 2 or 3 songs that don't go together. If you listen to Ozzy, Iron Ozzy, Robbie playing bass, sometimes the bass riff, he'll play something from Sabbath or Deep Purple or Savatage or anything in the middle of a song because it goes.
Hey, if it works,
That's
I'm not
fun.
complaining
That's fun
about
when
it.
you do that too. It's cool.
Yeah.
Keeps the crowd on their toes.
And what's the best too is, you get some bands where they're mean to each other. If one of them makes a mistake after the show, they're complaining and they're arguing. But these guys and me, if any one of us makes a mistake, and mostly these guys don't make any mistakes, they're too good for that. But as a singer, I'll tell you the secret of all singers forget the words sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And the bass player and the drummer never forget the lyrics. So I'll go over there and Robbie will mouth the lyrics to me and I'll be like, oh, okay, that word, okay, good. But that's the secret. But the thing is, if I miss something or if there's a mistake one of us makes, we all just kind of cover for it like we meant to do it.
Yeah.
And
Because if you cover for it, the audience doesn't know any different.
they don't know. And we never give each other grief for it. It's the best thing. Like, it'd be great because back in the day, I used to make my living from music, and I didn't have a day job because I made good money touring and traveling, and we had, a pretty good gig going.
You were living the dream.
Oh,
honey.
yeah,
you were living the dream.
Especially back on the East Coast days, I was touring at resort hotels and things, doing pretty well. I made more in 6 months than I make in a year now, doing corporate, but I can't practice as often as I used to. I used to practice 4 hours a day, then there was 2 hours a day in the gym and working out, then there was all the dance lessons, and all that. It was like a full-time...
I'm so glad I'm on this side of the music scene because, nope, I don't like working out that much, thank you.
Well,
I want to be fat and lazy, thanks.
the thing is,
I'll take my videos. I get to sit on my butt.
I don't want to lose my breath when I'm on stage.
You gotta
Well,
keep your
no.
stamina up. That's the biggest part.
Right.
You have to.
If-
It's like fighting. Well, you're in a martial arts. Like, when
Exactly.
doing competition, you got to train for those. How many rounds it's going to be in per minute? You're up there doing the same thing. I mean,
Exactly.
it's just as hot. There's just as much mental stress and physical stress going on. I mean, you're still having fun, but all that adrenaline's rushed up. You still get that after the show. You're like, ugh, just like you got out of the ring, and
Yes.
you're wiped out. So if you don't train and stay in
But
shape, forget it.
I'm gonna throw this out there just because I can. Because I'm me.
Throw it.
Okay, so
Bring
here's the deal.
No, I don't have
If you
gloves.
are listening to this podcast and you do not live in Phoenix, you need to come visit and you need to come see these bands live because let me tell you, a large portion of the musicians in Phoenix have absolutely brought sexy back to the stage.
Yes.
I can't tell you how much eye candy I get to sit and watch come up on stage. Male, female, it don't matter. We got the eye candy. So you're gonna have to check it out at videos at least. So we got Jim back here making funny noises.
No, he's
I
doing
love this.
That's Yellow.
The moon is beautiful.
I knew what you were doing right away.
I kept hearing it, but
We're from the same era.
That's right. Yellow, SPK, Cabaret Voltaire. That was another piece of it because that kind of avant-garde new wave stuff.
Yeah,
The
That's
stuff
good
that never got played on the radio.
Yeah.
Romeo Void. Oh, God.
There's a name, yeah.
so we are coming up on our time limit.
Then in that
So
case,
Well, let me ask you a quick question. You've done so much. You've done a lot in your career. Give our up-and-comer bands and entertainers some advice. What should they do? Brand new, starting out, they're just getting into it. What direction would you send them?
Well, before I do that, I'll play you this in a second.
Yeah.
But I will give the advice. Here's
over.
my best advice to entertainers, okay? And, you know, a lot of you don't know my background or how long I've been doing this or who I've played with, any of that. But I'll tell you, this is some really great advice because I've trained with some of the best, including, God rest his soul, David Van Landing, who was my last vocal teacher. Spent a couple of years training with him, and he really was absolutely world-class. Played with Michael Schenker, Tony McAlpine, Mannequin. He was best of the best. And I'll tell you, as a vocalist or as a stringed instrument musician, horn player, drummer, whatever it is that you play, even if it's nothing but cowbell, practice. Take lessons and practice again. Take lessons and practice again. Record yourself. And don't be shy, even if you think you suck right now. It's your first time, you're shy, you think that this is terrible. Get out and get a gig and go play. And forget what anybody says. If people are hating or mocking or whatever they're saying, get over it. You got the guts to be up there. You deserve some praise. And don't let anybody stop you. Don't let your parents or your friends or anybody else tell you what you can or can't do. If I listened to any of that, I wouldn't be playing here. I wouldn't be sitting in this room right now because I can't tell you how many times I went to a band audition or an open mic. They wouldn't even let me on stage because I was a girl. And that's no joke. Back then.
Crappy.
And that's okay, though. Later, they were wanting me to play music with them, but, you know, I remember.
Did you laugh?
You women are
Did
back
you
by
laugh
storm
at the
now,
ones that said no to you?
No, I would never laugh because, you know, there's something to be said about class and character, and you know the mistakes that people make. You know, I can't stop the judgment, and you can't stop biology. You may want to legislate it out of people, but the fact of the matter is, sexism, all that kind of stuff that you're going to run into, racism, classism, whatever, discrimination. There's always going to be discrimination for something.
There is.
Get over it. Just move on. And me giving somebody laughter or hatred later, that doesn't serve any purpose at all. And maybe it leaves them with a bad taste and then they take that home with them. I'd rather just try and, you know, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's play something. Because if I don't give people a chance to learn, what if nobody gave me a chance to learn? Because I've done a lot of stupid. And actually...
I don't know any of us that haven't.
Actually, I'll tell you my most embarrassing story that nobody knows. Nobody knows. And then I'll go back to the advice here. The most embarrassing story, hiking the White Tank Mountains. This is back in like 1991. I'm back near the waterfall, sitting there on the mountain, taking in the sounds, and sitting there with a friend, and two guys are coming up the path, and we're off the path. We're like back on the mountain, and I'm like, I'm going to jump up and scare these guys a little. It'll be funny, because I'm 19 or 20, and being a little jerk. So I jump up and go, blah! Oh! And I just wanted to die and shrink into the earth like tremors right that minute. I wanted to melt into a ball of goo. Because who was it? One of my top 3 vocal idols, Rob freaking Halford. It was Rob Halford and his bodyguard. And I just...
Right on, Grace. That was so not awesome.
It was horrible.
Actually, that is cool, though, because if you think about it, you know, he was just as freaked as you are for 1 second, because he probably scared the crap out of him.
No, he's probably thinking, who is this?
Yeah, really, at the same time, he's like, oh my God, they're stalking me. They even stalked me in the White Tanks. Oh.
I know, it was terrible. I was just dying of embarrassment, because I've been a huge Rob Halford fan forever. And sorry, I keep kicking over Larry's drink here on the floor.
It's all good.
I knew him right away because Rob used to come out to our shows sometime at the Mason Jar. We'd see him. We'd see Brian Slagle from Metal Blade. We'd see Alice Cooper would come out sometimes. So I knew who he was, and unfortunately, he knew who I was. Because I really wish to God he didn't.
He's never going to forget you. He still sees you in his nightmares.
Yeah, probably. It's supposed to be, you know, I'll see you in my dreams. But,
right.
No.
Different kind of dream.
God, I hope
Hey, do you have any
forgot.
crazy rituals, pre-show rituals that you have to do? Do you have any superstitions? quickly let us hear a couple of them.
No superstitions, but rituals, because
There
the secret.
Sorry.
We didn't talk about this, but I used to be a pro athlete also. But I did cheerleading, I did track, soccer, basketball, gymnastics, martial arts.
More than a woman. More than a woman to me.
Okay, just channeling a little bit of that.
One of these days, I'm going to do a show in nothing but song lyrics. I'm
My
telling
God,
you.
when can we do this?
Oh, yeah.
So,
What's our ritual? Come on,
my
tell me
ritual
something.
is this: eat a good breakfast. I chill out. I do not talk to anybody. I turn off the phone. I turn off the computer. I don't text. I don't email. I won't take a call. I am completely inaccessible. Even my band can't reach me all day. And I drink my water. I have my chamomile tea. I relax. I do scales. And I maybe take a nice hot bath, a little nap, listen to some of my favorite songs. Maybe I go for a motorcycle ride. I work out a little. I stretch.
Okay.
And then when it's time for the show, I'll be in the parking lot. I won't come into any venue until it's time. And Rob knows this. Johnny knows this. And Tommy, they all know. They can strike the opening chords, and I'll just come running in the back door because they already know I'm in the parking lot chilling out. I've never, ever, ever missed the start of a show, but everybody else would freak out thinking I wasn't there. But I need my space because I have to get my head in the game, because it's hard, because you see your friends and your family there. It's hard to go up and play Rockstar for the night when you're looking at the people that you sit there and play pool with or that you're at the family picnic with. Because you need to create... This is another piece of advice, because here's a transition. People are there to be taken out of themselves. They have their day jobs. They've got the mortgage. They've got the kids. When they come to see a performance, they don't just want to rock out. They want to feel taken out of themselves and lifted up to a different level. It's that fifth dimension feel. And you need to be able to channel that energy and give it back to them. Put a smile on their face. Make them feel exhilarated and uplifted because they're tired. They had a bad day. And when they leave there, you want them to feel amazing. And
I call it subspace.
Here, here.
Yes. But usually that's in BDSM.
Well, that's where I got the
Oh, I
terminology
knew it's going to
from.
go there. See, you opened a whole nother door now.
Well, I figured we knew. We were
That's a whole
talking.
nother show.
You don't know what
It's
we
like
were
a-
talking about
like a
earlier.
week show.
Or that I was leading Larry around by the pigtail earlier.
Nice.
Okay, no, really wasn't. But anyway, yeah, that's part of the ritual there.
Now we just
And,
made somebody's fantasy.
Yes, we did. And then, this is probably a good place, if we have time, to play a snippet. How much time do we have left?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and play it.
Go for it.
We got time.
Well, but
We have plenty of time.
advice, back to that, practice some more. You probably heard me talking earlier in the show. I started out with just a few minutes because my voice couldn't take it for that long, because scales are very hard when you're doing vocalises. And to this day, I always maintain what we learned in martial arts, which is beginner's mind.
Yep.
I do the same scales that I've done for 20-some years, because every time I learn something different, and I'm never too good to practice. All I know is that every show I want to be better and better and better, because it's never good enough. I want it to be the best I can make it.
You know, that beginner's mind, that is so hilarious. The minute you said that, and the comment about still doing the scales that you did. When I was in high school, I was in choir, and it was Mommy Made Me Mash My M&Ms.
Mm-hmm. Tell Mommy, made me mash my M&Ms.
I am so far away from in years from that, and I still remember Mommy Made Me Mash My M&Ms.
I love that.
That's hilarious. So, you've got a song for us.
Well,
A snippet. She's teasing us tonight.
before
She
I
can play the whole thing
do,
if she wants.
last of the advice, besides the practice, staying in that physical shape. We talked about it earlier.
absolutely.
Because you don't want to
Very
be on
important.
stage. It's okay if you have a little hyperhidrosis problem, but the audience doesn't want you looking like you're about to pop a vein. You're sweating all over the place. You look like you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke right there on stage. You need to be in shape, because you're going to play for at least 30 minutes if you're an opening act or something. If you are a headliner, you're going to play for an hour.
You'll never make it on the road if you're not in shape. You'll
That's
never
right.
make it.
You're playing every night. And in the case of Horns Up, sometimes we've played shows that were 4 hours. And your vocal, your hands, your legs, your feet, everything has to be warmed up. So that's why when I practice 10 times longer. There are times I'll do 8 hours of practice. If I'm on a road trip or something, I just keep going. Because I always want to be like the Corvette. Corvette always wanted to be able to go that 1 mile an hour faster so they could win the race.
Yeah.
And as a vocalist, as a performer, I always want to have something extra in the tank. That extra jump, that extra kick. I don't want to get to the end of the show and you think I'm tired. I want to be ready to go for another 10 hours.
Well, because you know you're going to get called back for that encore.
That's right. And tomorrow night,
you gotta have it in you.
Right. And tomorrow night, and the night after, and the night after. And I learned that, too, from David, because I mentioned Dave Van Landing earlier. It's one of the things he beat into me. And many ways, he was harder on me than Mimi or Jacqueline or even my teachers back in school. He just was brutal with this, very regimented in how he taught, because he was such a professional. And he would have to perform night after night after night. And when he was touring, I did his gigs in Phoenix. I was his backup singer. Backing up his gigs. Not like his do-up girl.
Right.
So I needed to be ready all the time. And that's the other thing. As a performer, you can't take time off and think, oh, well, I'll get back to it and I'll just take 6 months off and eat wings and drink beer and sit around. No. That's not what makes for a good performance. You need to be ready. Because what if you got a chance to go play with a friend? Or
what if you walk into Gypsies and all of a sudden get called up on stage?
That's right. Well, in my defense there, Icky warned me, but I'm always ready at any show because I didn't warm up that night before I did Rising Force with Johnny and Company, but I'm always ready because I train every day. And the only time I didn't is when I was injured and couldn't sing because my throat was burned.
That's so frustrating. Oh.
Horrible. It's just terrible feeling.
Depression,
that
frustration.
That had to be the
everything.
scariest because no idea how well it was going to heal.
I wasn't scared. I was angry. And every day I wore my oldest motorcycle boots in the house. I normally wear no shoes in the house. It's a tradition from the family and very Asian type of thing. But I wore my oldest motorcycle boots in the house because I wanted it to be, die with your boots on, like Maiden. Because if anything happened, it went sideways. That's how I'm going out in my Kevlar boots and the leathers.
Yeah.
And I laid there under the blanket, barely able to get up. I could barely feed myself or drink. I would fall asleep with food on my lap in a plate and just wake up 8 hours later, just like this. But I was doing it with... Sorry about that.
Okay.
Oh. Uh-oh.
See, now you're pressing all the buttons.
Well, you just keep wanting to press the buttons, but that's another tease there. We can't really. So, and let's see.
Have you guys met Buttons? Then you'll know why I always want to press her. But yeah, met Buttons. Okay.
I heard you wanted to do it again and again and again and again and again and again and
press
again
it
and
again,
again and again and again and again.
Okay. I love it. We all stopped and got that visual together. We're like,
yes, we did. Except as a vocalist, that is not in my wheelhouse. Hand-eye coordination is not my skill set. I have other talents.
There you go. There you go. Good cover. Good cover.
And you should see Larry's face.
I'm doing everything I can to bite my tongue because the things that I want to add to that, and I'm afraid that we would get into so much trouble if I actually discuss any of your actual talents because as a singer, you've got to open wide.
It's true. It's true.
You guys are bad.
But I would never make any
joke
joke like that. All those jokes we'll save for when we're not being recorded. I miss the days before cell phones because I get myself into trouble. I did a show with Tony Noyes. Killer performer. Actually, he made my business cards, did my logo also. Great graphic artist. Great guy.
Awesome. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony. So Tony and I were doing Actually, Tony came out to watch my band, and we were playing at the Blues. And after hours, I banned all the cameras because we're all We're all...
At some point, you've got to, because
Right.
you've got to be able to let your hair down.
Well, yeah, because I have to be on my good behavior, because even though I'm rock and roll, the stuff I used to do back in the day, coming out of the coffin, I had my girls on stage with the whips and the chains and dragging them around on the leashes. I had my guys in their hoods carrying me out in the coffin, the pyrotechnics, the flames out of the hands, the fog, the knives. Oh God, Rick, our roadie, carried me out, and we were... and another story, but he got cut badly, and everybody thought that it was...
Thought it was fake.
Oh, yeah. But I told him we had rehearsed the moves 20 times. He knew which way to go, and he went the wrong way. So when I blocked, he got cut. Oh, well. Because we had this mock fight we were doing. And, I'm a realist.
Yeah, it happens though, too.
I'm all
you want to do your own thing up there, and
Right.
everyone else acting out, so you got to take the chances,
Right. Because what good is it? Life is all about risk. And you're going to see this on my page. Life has a 100% chance of death. It's what we do in between that matters. And the thing is, all my stuff on stage, I used to do my double-headed sword, my double-headed barbarian battle axe, and Rick had my Gerber boot knife that night. Because I don't believe, in that case, I didn't want stage props. Because
No.
I was all about being hardcore. Although I did mirror on stage blood. No girls were hurt in the filming of my stuff.
There you go.
Okay.
Nobody
It just-
was actually hurt except the one roadie.
Except for poor Rick.
Except some feelings.
Feelings,
Probably the
what
guy's
we
feelings were probably hurt
feel.
more, because she was probably no more whipping those weapons around like the alpha.
So
Oh,
we
yeah,
are,
I'm sure
they
we are
listen well. I gotta just give them
absolutely,
that
we
thing.
need to get to this clip for you, because I've got a
Cool.
gift I need to give to you when
Okay.
we're done.
Then let's see. I'm going to give you
airtime
two
is shitting
choices. I
it,
have to
but we
be
can hear it.
careful, because Johnny Frankenshred, Rob Irwin, Michael Pudignano, and I have 4 albums coming out on Killer Metal Records. The first album we just finished finally. We were interrupted in production because of my death and then subsequent recovery. And I just recorded the last 4 songs. We're in final mix. And Johnny, thank you. And Michael, thank you for giving me permission to play some snippets of this. And Jans, hello. Guten Tag. That's head of our label
Nice.
over there. So this is a little snippet of some of the song I will play for you. This is one called Engulfed in Flames. I won't play all of it, just enough to whet your appetite.
Gotta get them wet.
Soak 'em, baby.
You asked about my favorite. This is one of my favorites.
There's a teaser there for you, gang.
That
Damn.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I
Very
can't
cool.
wait. So
you.
Love those harmonies on there. It's
Thank you.
Cool.
So,
Very hard.
It was so cool. I was really happy to get to do this. Michael wrote those lyrics, the drummer. He's kind of our Neil Peart, if you will, because he was the
Okay.
guy who was responsible for those lyrics. Johnny wrote all that music, and Robbie wrote that killer bass line, because you recognize that
Of
thump and shred.
course.
Thump and shred. Okay, a little bit of Van Halen there, bump and grind.
I'm digging you.
And the vocal, we recorded this one. We recorded at Pyramix under the pyramid, which was great. And went down there, and they said, "Do whatever you want." And I thought, well, how can I make a vocal that matches what Johnny is playing on the guitar? And I had no idea what I was going to sing till I went down there, and there was just such good ambiance. It was just cool. So
the
I came
best
up with
stuff
a lyric.
comes out when you're not planning it.
Yeah, the lyrics were there, and I just didn't know how I was going to sing them. Because Michael was cool enough to give a scratch track, but I didn't want to listen to it because I was afraid it would get stuck in my head and I would sing it like him. And I knew that if he wanted it to be sung that same way, he'd sing it himself. So I
Right.
needed to come up with something different. So a lot of it is similar to his original, but then I threw in all those crazy harmonies. It's actually, if you could hear this on a good stereo, it's an 8-part harmony. Because
Okay.
I have a
That's
little
bad.
over 4.5 octaves to play with, so I just used all of them.
Nice.
might as well.
Nice.
Johnny's using all the notes. I might as well use
Yeah,
all
right?
of them too.
Yeah.
Might
You
as
got
well
all those
if you
notes.
can
Only
give-
fair.
So, two things, and then we're done for the night. Number one,
Oh,
on behalf of the local beat, the wow, all of a sudden just forgot the name of my own show. The
This
beat
is called
goes
The Beat
on.
Goes On. This is The Beat Goes On.
And Jim Starke.
Our new
I want
segment
to
here on
give
James
you-
C. Stark Radio.
I want to give you your 4th Corvette.
what?
Yes,
Are
this
you
is the
kidding
big
me?
moment. Now, hold on. Oh, there you go. There it is.
Oh my God, this is amazing! Holy, where did you find this?
Oh, she ripped it off.
That's awesome.
Right
You
out of the
stole
police
it?
auction yard. Yeah, it was
That's
pretty cool.
badass.
Your 4th Corvette.
Oh my God, I love it. Where did you find
I did
this?
some misdirection. She snuck right by, fired that sucker up. There's your
Yeah.
case. Enjoy the ride home.
Yeah. This is, oh my God, you guys should see this. I'm going to post a picture of it. We should take a picture.
We will make
We're
sure
going to. As
your
soon as we're
picture
done, we're
gets
going to take
taken.
pictures.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely.
awesome.
Last thing for the night.
Thank you.
You've got shows coming up. I want to know them because so do our people. What do you got coming up?
Okay, we've got the show as we talked about. February 7th, Gypsy's Roadhouse, Horns Up. Then February 22nd, Gypsy's Roadhouse again, Empire of Desire, and Horns Up. So that'll be Tulin and me. And, who knows who's going to show up for either of these shows, because I've heard rumblings that we might have some rock star sightings of other folks in the valley here.
Nice.
You never know
Nice.
who's going to show up. One night we had one of the horn players from Parliament show up.
Awesome. So, guys, don't forget Gypsy's Roadhouse, February 7th, and then again on February 27th.
Yeah, and you can keep up with a lot of this if you just go again, www.hunterstorm.com. Also on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/HunterstormBand. Also on Instagram, Hunterstorm.
And the local beat always
Yes,
does our
local
show
beats.
posters to holler out for everybody.
They've done great. Local Beat, you've got to check it out. Jim has always been a killer supporter of the scene. He's always put out great show. And Larry, once she came on the scene, she's got all this passion and energy for everything. So
It's because I love
just
you guys
good.
so much.
We love you too.
Hunter, thank you so much
Yes,
for
yes,
being
yes.
with us
Thanks for
tonight on
having me.
this.
Local
This
beat.
has
The
been-
beat goes on.
The beat goes on. Thank you.
Can I miss one more thing that I forgot?
Absolutely.
If you'd like to read any of the crazy things I've written, you can find my books out there on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And I think some of the others, like B&N Books, also carry at Kindle. So I've got a few books out.
Guys, go
Motorcycling by
hit her
Storm.
website because she's got this phenomenal story on her bio, and it does talk about these books that she's written, the music that she's done. Please go check her out. Miss Hunter Storm, you have been phenomenal to sit and talk
Thank you,
with
Larry.
tonight.
Thank you, Jim.
Oh,
Thank you,
you're
Local
welcome.
Beat. And hey, all the musicians out there, please, please, please sign up, join up Local Beat here, and make sure that you're keeping on top of what they're doing. Send them your promo and make sure that you promote them, because what they do for us, we need it. and we all need each other. So hope to see you out at a show, and I'm definitely going to make it out to every one of yours that I can.
Thank you
Until
so
then,
much, and good night to my people out there at The Beat Goes On.
Thanks so much for listening,
Rock
you
on.
guys. You've been listening to The Beat Goes On James T. Stark Radio with your new host, Larri King. And thank you so much for being here, Hunter. You guys all rock. Tune in for her next show. Larry's kicking butt here. Stay awesome, gang.